Hello again, and thanks for being here for this edition of Pod Bites. I'm Verna Collins Odoom. Most of us know that the public library is so much more than a place where you can check out books and videos and use the computers. In many cases, it's a place where people gather to participate in an array of multisensory experiences and expressions. Their speakers and their story times, their book clubs, their music lessons and STEM programs for school-aged children, their hangout areas for teens, their activities and clubs for seniors. The list goes on. So during this time when COVID-19 is keeping us from going into the library and wandering through those racks that we love to do and taking in-person classes and seeing your friends, what do you do? Speaking with me today is Christie Lassen. She is the Director of Communications and Partnerships with the Howard County Library System in Maryland. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Christie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I am going to start our 10-minute timer, and we're just going to kick it off with the first question, and that is, what is the status of the library? Let's talk a little bit about what the system looks like and what it's doing today.
So I would start by saying that while our buildings may be closed to the public right now, our libraries are open for business, that our staff is working tirelessly to meet our customers' needs, to find ways to engage with our community, and to anticipate their needs. So customers can reserve books through our catalog on our website, and they can then make appointments to come pick them up. Our staff puts them out in bags in the lobby. So that's just one small, that's a large way actually of the way we continue to work with our customers. We also started something called bundle bags.
Yes.
We know that some of our customers miss getting to come into the branch and browse the shelves or look at our displays and just maybe pick up something they hadn't anticipated. So we started something called bundle bags where you can choose from a variety of topics, about 30 topics, which change out every 3 weeks, 30 days or so. And then our staff will put together a bag, and you won't know what's in it exactly until you get it. And so it's kind of a fun discovery process as well. You might discover an author or a title that you were not familiar with and decide that you really enjoy that.
Okay, well,
and it's for all ages. So we have 4 books and all the way up through adults.
I was going to say that sounds exciting. My kids have a lot of these bags. They have picked up the bags at the store. At the library. They've been able to come in and get their books, and they pick them up, and the brown paper bag is sitting at our house, and they love that. They're still able to enjoy their books and their videos and things. I find it interesting, and I've been thinking about this. Library systems are really not the only entities that have had to make a lot of changes to stay current, or even in some cases stay in business during this time, other businesses. So really the difference I see is in being successful during this time and continuing to offer services has seemed to be whether people can pivot quickly enough, or businesses or organizations are able to make changes during this changing time. Do you feel like you all hit the mark with that?
I do. We have a very talented creative team who right away in March, when we closed our doors due to the pandemic, pivoted quickly to working remotely and taking our in-person classes and switching them over to virtual classes. And so, within days of our closing, we started offering some of our STEM classes, which were so popular that they filled up right away. And then we brought the rest of our classes, or many of our other classes and events online as well. And they've been so popular. We have a catalog of on-demand classes, which has really been very, very popular because now you can watch them whenever your schedule allows. And in some way, and in many of our classes, the attendance is what it would have been in person, and sometimes even greater, because now there's no issues around transportation or childcare or work schedules or activities and school schedules and so on. And so it really makes it more accessible to more people.
Socialization, I know, is key. And you said that there are a lot of virtual classes and people are signing up for those. One group I'm wondering how they're doing is the elderly. Many of the older residents might not have as much experience with their computer, with going virtual, with getting into a Zoom class or however you're accessing your classes. What is your thought, and how are things looking with that group? Because you have many of the libraries have a very vibrant senior program.
Right. That's such a great question, and that's something that we are always thinking about. For all of our various populations, how do they access what we offer while our buildings are closed? So one thing that we have done is we've expanded what we call our Ask HCLS service. So that used to be just you could send us an email and we would get back to you. But now you can chat with us from any page of the website. It's I think fairly self-explanatory for people. But more importantly, you can call us anytime that we're open or anytime our branches are open. People can call us, and we are happy to walk through any technical issues or anything that you've got. To the extent that's possible for our customers. And if people just want to call up and talk, and we've heard stories of people calling up staff and asking, like, can you just maybe read the newspaper to me, or just needing that personal connection is so important. And so that's one area. And I'll say the other thing that we are doing, so we continue to offer kind of one-on-ones. We do have some classes for people, kind of some tech help. If you need some technical help, sign up for one of our classes. And again, we always encourage people to give our branches a call. But on the technical side as well, I would say we have started lending out Chromebooks and hotspots, because we know that there are about 3,300 households in the county that don't have internet access. And that, there are many households who received Chromebooks through the school system for their students, but there are many other households who don't have students in school and don't have that access. And so we've started lending that out. We've been working with community organizations to target those populations who are most in need. And those Chromebooks and hotspots come with instructions. So if people maybe are unfamiliar with how they work, they can read the instructions. But again, they can always call us as well.
And I was going to say, what I wanted to ask more about that, but I want to get to a couple more things, because believe it or not, we only have about 4 more minutes. So I know that folks can call the library.
Gosh.
I know it goes fast. Can call the library and get more information on that. So that's great information. I was going to ask also about the younger group. So young people come to the library. It's the place to hang out, apparently. When we're there, we see groups of young people. There are different programs for them as well. What is your feeling on the socialization that is missing at this point? Are they tuned in? Are they getting online? And are they still able to have that experience because they're at home now? Are they able to have that experience that they want to have?
Yes, and that's a great question as well. Yes, they are. We have a variety of live classes and on-demand classes. And so those live classes, there are opportunities to interact. Mm-hmm. We've partnered with OMO, Oakland Mills Online, who started offering a lot of online sessions, book discussion groups, journaling sessions, all kinds of ways to connect. And so, our staff is leading some of those sessions as well. So we're looking at all the opportunities out there to connect with our community, because we know that it's so important now.
Do you feel that the library maybe had a leg up, because you've done lots of things digitally for a long time? So maybe some of the entities that have had to kind of ramp up their systems, maybe you already had some in place that you were able to employ pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one thing, we've always had a lot of digital content available. So ebooks, audiobooks, books, movies, and music that you can stream. So we promoted that a lot, of course, at the beginning of the pandemic. We continue to promote that. And yeah, I mean, again, back to our talented creative staff, like they really stepped up so that we could meet people where they were and how and in what ways they needed us. Because, we pride ourselves on being innovative and always looking like, how can we do this? What can we do to meet our community's needs? So yeah, I would say in a lot of ways we were kind of ahead of the game there.
Okay, we have about a minute and a half. I have 2 questions. Hopefully we can get them in. You have a great thing at one of the libraries. I know. It's a DIY center. folks are able to come in. I've seen things like their outdoor equipment that you can use for your lawn, tall ladders for projects in your house. You have training there as well. I've seen drywall classes. I've seen sewing machines. Is that still available? You also have an art collection, so I'm going to try to push those two things together. Are those things still available, and how is that working as far as the library and the checkout? Is that pretty easy and self-explanatory?
Yes. Yes to all those questions. You can borrow the items from our DIY collection, whether you're going hiking, you're doing some baking projects or sewing. We got sewing machines and certainly gardening as that season ramps up this spring. Call the Elkridge branch. That's where that collection resides, and they'll walk you through how to get those items. Our art collection at our Central branch is also available. You can reserve those art pieces online through our catalog. If you go to our website and you click on our Central branch under the locations, that will take you to a link to the art collection.
Okay, last question. We have about 15 seconds, but we're going to get it in here. When our society returns to some kind of level of normal, what do you see the library looking like? Are you planning for a huge return of patrons, or do you think this has totally changed the library as we know it and how it operates as we know it? And my timer's going to go off, but we're going to answer that question. We're still going to get it.
That's a great question, and I think for all of us, in every situation, I think the new normal is going to look very different for everyone. And so we have a phased reopening plan. Our next reopening will be in a limited way. We are working through those plans right now. We don't have a date for that because all of our decisions have been based on public health metrics and conversations with our local health officer. And so, I think it will look different. And we'll certainly, be looking at our in-person classes and looking at how can we maybe do a hybrid approach between, in-person and virtual classes because the virtual events are popular.
Okay. Well, that is wonderful. I really appreciate your time and your information that you gave. This has been Christie Lassen, and she is with the Howard County Library System in Maryland. We leave everybody with bites. They're called, it's called Pod Bites, and so we leave them with little nuggets to take away. So let me just mention a couple of things that you talked about. You said one thing the library system has done is this added chat to add all the pages of the website so that folks can call, they can get online, they can find out how to operate certain things and be more involved in the library and continue to be virtually involved if they need help in that regard. You also talked about handing out Chromebooks and hotspots so that folks can be online, those people that might not have access, and you've been identifying areas that might have a greater need for those. And you also talked about phasing things in, a phased reopening plan, that reopening in a limited way and kind of phasing in the opening and how things are going to possibly look different for the system as we move forward and get out of this COVID situation. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Christie, for being here and chatting with me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Well, I appreciate it too. We're going to have contact information up regarding the library, so you'll be able to find out what's going on there. And we appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming by and spending time listening. We'll see you next Sunday, of course, Sunday evening for the next edition of Pod Bites. Thank you so much and have a great week. Bye-bye, everyone.